Hi, my name is Gina and I am doing today's video on correlation. So correlation is used to test relationships between two variables. In a correlation, the data can be represented by the ordered pairs x and y. X is known as the independent variable and y is known as a dependent variable. A positive correlation shows that x increases and that y also increases, and it looks like this. A negative correlation shows that x increases and y decreases. So you can see your x-axis, how x is increasing, and as that increases, y is decreasing. No correlation, just looks pretty scattered. A correlation coefficient is used to measure the relationship between two variables. Correlation coefficients have a value between -1 and 1. If the value is 0, there's no relationship. The sample correlation coefficient is found by using the following formula. R equals n times the sum of x times y minus the sum of x times the sum of y over the square root of n times the sum of x squared minus the sum of x squared times the square root of n times the sum of y squared minus the sum of y squared. For example, calculate and analyze the correlation coefficient between the number of study hours and the number of sleeping hours of different students. So you have your number of study hours, which is your x, and your number of sleep hours, which is your y. So first you want to find your sum of x and your sum of y. And looking back at the chart, all you want to do is add your values for x. 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10 gives you a sum of 30. And then for the sum of y, you want to add all of your y values to give you the sum of 40. So then you want to see what information in the formula that you need. So looking back at your formula, you already know that the sum of x is 30 and that the sum of y is 40. So now we want to find the sum of x times y. We want to find the sum of x squared and the sum of y squared. So you want to find your sum of x times y. So we're going to look back at our chart and add another column. So what we are going to do is take your first x, 2, times the sum times your y of 10, and you get 20. Then on to the next one, you want to do 4 times 9 to get 36. And then I just filled the rest in for us. So to get the sum of x times y, you want to add all of your values together to get the sum of x times y equals 220. Now you want to find the sum of x squared. So we're going to add a column again. To find x squared, you're going to take your x value, which the first one is 2, and you're going to square it to get 4. The next one, you're going to take your 4, square it to get 16. And then 6 squared, 36, 8 squared is 64, and 10 squared is 100. And that, adding all those together gives you the sum of 220 again. So your next step is to find the sum of y squared. We're going to add another column again for your y squared, and we're going to look at our y column this time. 10 squared is 100, 9 squared is 81, and we put the rest in for you. Adding all of those together gives you a sum of 330. So what do we know? we know that the sum of x is 30, the sum of y is 40, the sum of x times y is 220, the sum of x squared is 220, and the sum of y squared is 330, and your n is 5. So we want to plug that all into the formula and solve. So looking back at our formula again, we want to plug in all the numbers into everything that we could. So 5 times 20 minus 30 times 40 gives you a negative 100. And your bottom comes out to a positive 100, which equals a negative 1. So looking at that, we could say that there is a negative correlation between the number of study hours and the number of sleeping hours. And I hope you enjoyed.